Sonia will be our speaker tonight.
Hey y'all, I'm Sonia. I'm a grateful alcoholic. It is always an honor and a privilege when asked to be of service in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was taught to say yes. And, it's wonderful seeing Tim here. I've known Tim for many years. And he's visited my first home group up in Beaufort, Georgia, which used to be the Friendship Group. But my name is Sonia. Let me kind of just jump right into it. I did say I was an alcoholic. I also like to start with a little prayer because I get a little nervous. I know that what I really would like is that my higher power speak through me, and whatever my higher power wants me to say will come through. And that will help somebody here. It's all about, I call it we covering, we together, not me covering. Me covering did not work for me, and I really choose to stay in the middle of the bed and be connected. So with that, here's my little prayer. God, thank you so much for bringing me here and for rounding all of us beautiful souls that we can come together, we can grow together, we can learn together, and we can help each other stay sober just one more day. May I speak your language that you would like me to share, that I can help somebody that is struggling or just hear that they need to hear whatever it is that we say tonight. Amen. So my sobriety date is August the 14th, 2010, and I have a home group. It's awesome, with a Peace of Mind group. We meet at the Prince of Peace Catholic Church. It's in Flowery Branch. Please come out. 9:30 Saturday morning. We also have a meeting Monday night at 6:30 and also Thursday night at 6:30. So we'd love to have you visit. I'll give you some directions after if you need those. I have an amazing sponsor. She just celebrated 42 years of sobriety. Her home group is Clarkson Group. I don't know where I would be without that woman. She truly is a GPS, which stands for guiding people spiritually. And then she has a sponsor. So we are all sponsored. And we are very enthusiastic about our recovery, but it didn't start out that way. I will begin. I'm from England. I was born in Nottingham, England, and I moved to America when I was like 11. I won't stay long in that, but there is a part of it that I want to share. My dad was an alcoholic. He died at 60 from cirrhosis. My sister also was an alcoholic. She died at 60 from alcoholism. And y'all, I just turned 60 on September the 7th, and I'm not going to die of alcoholism. Because my seed is very precious, and I do not take it for granted. It makes me want to fight even more to be sober, because of my family members. My grandfather also, believe it or not, never met him. He died of alcoholism. I have a brother that's been sober for many years. It's just me and him. If I think today that a drink looks good, all I got to do is remember my sister's eyes at the morgue when I went to do her hair. I always say, don't forget these things. It's pretty bad when you see that. There's not a damn thing I could do about it. Powerless. But I can do my own sobriety, and I can help people. And that's what it's about today. I don't live my life today. I'm not the one that directs it. My higher power, God, is, who I did not know when I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. So, with that being said, I moved to America. I'm different. I have a British accent. I don't fit in, and I want to fit in. Wow. Does anybody else can relate to that? So I immediately got rid of my accent and learned how to speak Southern in about a week. It's just, I think about how I felt back then moving here. I didn't know anyone. I didn't want to know anyone. And of course, my sister was a bartender and her husband was a liquor distributor. So we had the bar in the house. And when it says, when was your first drink? I actually think it was about 7 or 8. But I do remember a picture of me. I was about 3 with some red wine in a little cup. Because in my family, it was very normal to drink. There was no such thing as waiting until you were 18 or 21 or 16. I always had a drink. There was always a drink. And my house was the cool house. The group of girls that I've met, we're still besties to this day. They would come to my house because at my house we could drink. And today I just think that's crazy that, we're like 12, 13, 14. And I remember when I turned 16, my sister asked me, she said, Sonia, what do you want for your birthday? Do you want a German chocolate cake or do you want a picture of sangria? Guess what I said? I said both. Because I had the disease of more. Little did I know then. So, this was kind of a normal upbringing. For me, alcohol, I remember when I took that first drink, we were at the cricket field, my dad gave me something called a shandy. It's half beer and it's half ginger ale. And I remember me and my girlfriend, and he, poured me a little shandy, and I drank it, and I was like, ooh, this is nice. And I loved the feeling. I loved it. I just loved the way I felt. I felt so silly, and just everything was brighter. I loved the, I don't want to say like just joyful. It was just fun. Everything was fun. And when I got sober, I realized my whole life was revolved around alcohol. My early career, I was a bartender. For those of you that are bartenders, you know what kind of life that is. You don't go to bed. You go out with your friends. You spend all your money that you made, and you drink. I had that going. But alcohol was just fun. We'd go around here to Buckhead. There was, back in the day, a place called Rupert's. We'd go dancing. Oh, my God, we'd go to some place called the Bucket Shop. I don't even know if it's still open. Anyway, so that was kind of where it was. I will say that in the 80s, I had graduated high school. It was like 1982 or 1983. I got my first DUI. Anybody here, maybe Tim, have you been to a place called Elon's? It was at Perimeter Mall. It was all the pretty people went there, all the cute guys with the jackets, because they wouldn't let you in unless you had a really nice blazer. And I left that night drunk, and I couldn't find my girlfriend, and I got arrested. That was my first DUI. I kept on drinking, and then the next one, it's funny because recently I told my story up in Beaufort, and this is truth. I'm just going to tell myself. I've been telling everybody that I've had one DUI until about maybe 6 months ago. I realized working with a sponsee, I've had 3. One just got let go. Like I got off, like it didn't get recorded. So to me, that didn't count. The last one I got, thank God, was, I'm 14 years, about 15 years ago. And I got really disturbed. And I deliberately picked a fight with my husband because he was on to me. I had told him I was not drinking. I quit drinking, but I'm doing the sneaky sneak. And so I picked a fight with him. Because I wanted to drink like I wanted to drink, and you're not going to tell me how I'm going to drink. And so I had a big old thing of Woodbridge Chardonnay, the big bottle, and then, of course, the Yeti cup of vodka. And I was a real alcoholic. I am. Once you're a pickle, you can't go back to being a cucumber. So I am always an alcoholic. I don't want to forget that. But I would mix the Yeti cup of vodka. It would be like, all the way full and just a splash of orange juice. Because I was all about the buzz. And, I'm just going to Taco Bell. And I'm in, y'all, this is so embarrassing. I'm wearing Victoria's Secret, Moo Cow, pink pajamas, no shoes. My husband's in bed. I deliberately picked a fight so he would go to bed. So selfish. And I don't even like Taco Bell. But when I'm drinking, it really sounds good. And I was driving back, and I see these blue lights. And I'm like, oh, no, somebody's getting pulled over. Those poor people. Of course, I'm not thinking it's me. I'm a mile from my house. And, I get pulled over at the railroad track, and I'm like, oh, my God, now we're in trouble. And the policeman comes over, and he's like, ma'am, have you been drinking? I said, no. Now, this is the bad part. I told him my mom had just died. My mom had not died. Do you know how many times my mother died to get me out of a pickle? And I would make up, crap, and I would be like, my mama died, and, I'm, sad, I'm just driving. I mean, it made no sense, and horrible. Of course, I refused any kind of breathalyzer or anything like that, so he takes me to jail. And, of course, 3 police cars show up, because I am a bad criminal. I need everybody. I mean, I'm like, and he's doing everything he can to try to convince me. I'm like, I'm not blowing. I'm not doing it. So I get out barefoot in my, like I said, pajamas, really embarrassing. And he puts me in the back seat of the car, and he puts those real pretty, silver bracelets on you. Have y'all ever worn, anybody wore those besides me? Can I see the hands of people that have worn those silver bracelets? Thank you. Y'all are got people. Thank you. And they hurt. And I was like, so this is my crazy thinking. So I'm thinking I'm going to spit the alcohol out, because by the time I get to the police station, I won't have as much alcohol in my system. So I'm in the back seat, and I'm going, and the policeman's like, ma'am, what are you doing? And I said, well, sir, there is something in my tooth, and I cannot get it out because I have these things in my hands. Lie. Selfish lying. If it ain't your mama's and she's died for the 10th time, it's because you got something in your tooth. So anyway, that was the last DUI, thank God. But, here's what I was telling Laura Lee on the way over here. I have over 14 years sober. But today, I do not forget my husband's face when he picked me up at jail. I don't forget what that looked like. You know how it says we don't regret the past, nor do we wish to shut the door on it? I don't want to stay there and stay in that guilt, remorse, right, and shame. But I don't want to forget the people that I love that I have really hurt and lied and hurt them. And, I'm very lucky that I didn't kill somebody, because I should be sitting on death row. I always drove with alcohol, never drove without it. I always had it, and I just thought it was normal. I just couldn't understand. I'm just going up the road 4 miles. I'll need my vodka. So that's kind of how I was when I came in, and I've got other consequences, but I think that's enough right now to qualify, if you know what I mean. I didn't want to come to AA. I knew what AA was, and I was very prejudiced the way I looked to AA. I thought people in AA were losers. I really thought that everybody lived under a bridge. Everybody had no shoes on their feet. Now, let me tell you, I always drive with no shoes. Like tonight, I have no shoes on, so I'm not wearing shoes either, sober or drunk. But what I'm saying is I have this distorted view of like, oh, I can't go to AA. That's just disgraceful. That's losers. And then my first year sobriety, a God that I didn't have yet gave me a light bulb moment. I went to Ridgeview Institute over there. They were having an AA thing they have every year. And a gentleman named Bill B., I think it's William B., he passed away, but he's the one that wrote the movie about Bill Wilson. He was telling his story. And he got sober really, really young, like really young. And he gets up there and he says, look, I went to the doctor and I was begging the doctor to help me. And the doctor's like, well, do you drink gin? He goes, yep. He goes, what about vodka? He said, that's my favorite. Do you drink red wine? Yeah. What about beer? Do you like beer? Well, I'll drink it if it's not anything else. And the doctor says to Bill, he says, well, I can't help you. I don't treat what you have. He goes, you don't understand. My wife's about to leave me. I'm going to lose my job, my kids. What am I going to do? You're my way out. He said, I don't treat alcoholism. You're an alcoholic. He said, I am not an alcoholic. Those are the people that live under the bridge with the brown paper bags. It was that moment that I had this like light bulb moment. I mean, here's this man, and he's telling my story. There was no difference. We may look different. He's a man, I'm a woman, completely different backgrounds. But when we put alcohol into us, guess what? We are dangerous. And I have no idea what's going to happen. So I was grateful for people before me that have shared their story. I have several others that in my journey have really just spoke the language to me, and it's right here in the heart. It's right in my heart, what we do. It's, fear is what brought me here. My husband was done, my friends were done, everybody was done, and I really just came here to get everybody off my back. I thought, I'm just going to go, do a couple of meetings, make everybody happy, but I'm still going to drink. Well, I am so grateful that I stayed, and you know how they say don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle? Because when I started this thing, I was like, the book, my first time I didn't get a big book. I did not get a sponsor. I would come to Saturday night meetings at the Gwinnett Room because they were speakers. I'm not reading. I hate to read. Well, you know where that got me. Relapse. Then I got serious. I said, okay, I got serious. I had some consequences. I had DUI I was going to look up to. I was, all this going on. And so I came back in and I got really serious and I got a sponsor. And if she told me to do 10 jumping jacks, I would do 10 jumping jacks. And I always say this to you. If you don't have a sponsor, get a sponsor. Get somebody that can help you with the steps in the book. Jump right in there. Even a temporary sponsor. Get a temporary and then get a real sponsor. But my sponsor, it was like, thank you God for that woman being placed in my path, because to share a journey with her and to have sponsees, I have some beautiful sponsees and grand sponsees, one's here tonight. It's just this way of life. It's amazing. And I didn't want any of it. I didn't want a sponsee for 2 years. I was like, I ain't got time for that. I have a business. I work. I got a husband. I got animals. I got swans. I got cats. It's not about you, Sonia. Do you want to save your life? And I do. Then I help other people. That's the selfishness I'm talking about that I have today. My selfishness is I wake up. I have a God that, like when I first came in and like up here, it said like God, I wanted to run. I said, oh Lord, we got some holy rollers in here. I was raised a little differently, Catholic. And then when I came here, I don't know if y'all know who Jim and Tammy Faye Baker are. If you don't, go look them up. But then the lady that was like my grandmother watched them all the time, so I used to watch them after school, and I'm like, those people are crazy. So my vision of religion was it was either strict Catholic, or it was crazy Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, or it was none. Or how about I was my own God? But here's what's beautiful about the steps. If you work the steps, and you don't think they make any sense, it doesn't matter. Just work the steps. Ask the questions. Your higher power will place the people in your path that will make sense. If you don't like your sponsor, get another one. I love mine. She's like my best friend. I'm telling you, if you don't love your sponsor, you need to go shopping and find another one. And I do not personally believe in sponsors that are hard asses. That does not work for me. My first one for about 30 days was, and I almost left. For me, what I need is somebody that has that white velvet glove that can really love you and understand you and, call you out on your bullshit too, but not in a rude, bossy way, but in a loving, kind way. And the thing is that every time her and I work a step together, or me and a sponsee work a step together, I'm growing, they're growing, we're all growing. So today, let me tell you what a day looks like in my life today. The old me would be like, oh my God, let me do the test. We have a 2-story house, and I would yell down, good morning, honey. And if I didn't get an answer, I knew I had done something really bad the night before. I would go look at my car, there'd be some dents on it, or I ran a mailbox over, or, God knows what. Today, what has Alcoholics Anonymous done for me? It has given me a spiritual life. I never knew that even existed. If you when in the beginning you said spiritual, I pictured Deepak Chopra on top of the mountain, that handsome man with his legs crossed going like this. No, it's not. And I always say, Alcoholics Anonymous is not a religious program. And I want to stress that because some people like myself were scared of that. That almost made me leave. It is a spiritual program. And the God is your God of your understanding. Even if you don't have a God today, don't worry about that. Just work the steps. Keep going. Listen to speakers. Ask questions. You will develop your own God. Today I have a God that I wake up with. I wake up and I say the third step prayer. The first thing I do is I wake up and I say, thank you, God. Thank you. Because when I tell you I love this life and I love being alive, I don't just live it. I love it. Every moment. Even on a day when I'm sad. Don't get me wrong, not every day is rainbow and butterflies. But I'm alive. My sister's dead. My father's dead. My grandfather is dead. I've had sponsees that are not here no more. They're also gone. And so today, the gratitude, if you wake up every day with a grateful heart, I guarantee that this life will be just so amazing. You just got to be willing, and you got to do the work, and you got to be grateful. Like my good friend says, you can't be grateful if you're hateful. One of our sisters up in Beaufort, she says that. But, I think about, and you tell me, Tim, how many minutes I got?
You're 20.
Okay, all right. Because, I like to talk. I don't want to bore everybody. But, I think about when I did step 1, powerless over alcohol, maybe, and your life will become unmanageable. I could not see the unmanageability at all. Well, tell me who drives like that in their pajamas. Is that manageable? Who lies to people? Is that manageable about their drinking? And I just, every day when I get out of bed, I just say that third step prayer, and I just keep it really simple, a really simple prayer. God, what is your will for me today? Show me. Show me what it is, who it is. Where do you need me to be? And then I get out of bed, and that's how my day starts. And I do like to spend at least 10 minutes in the morning in prayer and meditation. And that's another thing. When I thought about meditation, I thought it was like, okay, these people are weird. Woo. No. Let me give you my definition of meditation. Prayer is talking to God. Whoever your God is. I don't really care who your God is. Just don't believe that you're the God. And then meditation is listening to God. So for me, some of the biggest gifts that have happened in my sobriety is when I do that in the morning and then I get quiet. And in the beginning, it was really hard for me to be quiet. I was like, my foot would tap. I'd come home from work. I'd be used to having a glass of wine. And I was just kind of like, I call it red, restless, irritable, and discontent. I'd be like, okay, what do I do with myself, And I had to learn new ways. So I've replaced that. I love hot tea. We're English, so we like hot tea, but I've got turmeric ginger. You come to my house, I'll make you a cup of tea. We got raspberry. What flavor do you have? You don't go to jail when you drink tea. You know what I mean? You don't get to wear those shiny handcuffs when you drink hot tea. So, come up with what brings you joy. I heard a speaker say one time, go where you feel God. And you think about that for a minute. Where do you feel God? Is it outside? Is it in the ocean? Do you like to ride horses with your animals? Where do you feel God? If you don't have a place like that, find a place. And then go spend time there. There's certain meetings I like to go to where I really, really feel God, like I'm hungry. When I walk right into the church, I get God bumps every single time. And when I hear those church bells, Big Ben, do y'all know who Big Ben is? I can do a demonstration, but I won't. But it takes me back to England. It takes me back to my dad. It takes me back to going to Catholic church with my father. Every time. That's the gift. I would never have experienced that if I had not come to AA and joined that home group. And then, service work. You know, that's what we do. Like I said, it's recovery. When Tracy felt ill tonight, I just really suggested that she stays home because she really was sick. And my sponsor has taught me physical sobriety is huge. It's 3 parts. It's spiritual, mental, and physical. If you don't feel good, go to the doctor. If you don't feel good, why? Why don't you feel good? Are you not nourishing your body? Are you eating the right food? Are you hanging around with the right people? Because that's the big one for me. I have to stick with the winners. I have to stick with y'all. You know, I've got to be really careful who I spend my time with. I cannot be around negative people. I want to be around the light bringers, and I want to be a light bringer. I've got a thing that I say with my girls. It's called BTL, and it's not bacon, lettuce, and tomato. It's be the light. You know, how can you be the light in your life every day? I'm talking about outside of AA and inside of AA. The reason that I love these 12 spiritual principles behind each step, I never knew they existed. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, what? Honesty? I'm like, really? You know, all these things that we learn behind each step that I get to apply in my life, and then I get to go out in the world and use what I learn here, the tools, outside with the normal people. And I've had people ask me, they're like, where did you get that from? I want to say, well, if you go to page 417, it's called acceptance. You know, of course, I'm very private about my being in Alcoholics Anonymous. I will break my anonymity if it's necessary, but I am a little bit private in my workspace. But it's not something that I'm ashamed of like I was in the beginning. I was very ashamed to be here. I didn't want to be here. And today I feel sorry for people that are not alcoholics. Talk about a switch in perception. Because I wish that we could take what we learn here and we have a class in school and maybe not call it the 12 steps of AA, maybe call it the 12 steps of just living right, and teach our children these things, these concepts, these traditions, these steps, then just think about the world today. Because really, it's all about loving people. And for me, my biggest tool is the St. Francis prayer. I love that prayer because in the beginning, you have to understand me. You have to love me. And if you don't love me big, that's not big enough. These are the things you learn about yourself when you work the steps. Today, it's not about that. It's about me understanding you, me looking for somebody else that is struggling. You know, when I walk into meetings, I really try to kind of scan the room and look around and see a new face. Somebody that maybe, or they look scared. Oh my God, they were like I was 14 plus years ago. And I'll go sit right next to them. Hi, I'm Sonia. Nice to meet you. I know that look. I've been there. So for the newcomers, please stay. For the old-timers that are struggling, let us know. Let us help you. And the relationships that I have made in Alcoholics Anonymous, I have different friends, but there is nothing like the relationship of authenticity and vulnerability that we do. We come here and we say how we are. We say where we are, you know, and if you're struggling, we talk about it. You know, the old me would be like, well, I can't say that. People could think I'm crazy. And, you know, we all have days like that. We all struggle. You could be the light for that person that is struggling, and maybe you had a death of your sibling. Maybe that alcoholic is having the same thing, and you can use your experience to benefit that person. I have God today. He's in my back pocket. He's in my car. I carry him everywhere. He's in my heart. I have peace. I'm talking real peace. And when Laura Lee read the promises tonight and I heard, you will know a new freedom and a new happiness, that's the magic right there. New freedom. Right? I don't think about alcohol today, but I don't want to think that I've ever got it. I'm a student today. I don't care if I have 50 years sober or 5 days sober. I'm always a student. I always want to learn from the newcomer, from the old timer. So, if I can help any of you or each of you or anything, please let me, I'll give you my number. Come join us at our group. And I think that's all I got. I'm just going to say, last thing is, I'm just grateful that I stay willing every day and that I practice gratitude every day. Even on a day that's hard, I know that gratitude will get me through it. In God. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sonia. I thought everything was weird when I first got here. The first time my sponsor ever talked to me was because I was crying in that chair over there during a Blue Chip speaker meeting. I thought that was the weirdest thing. So it warms my heart when, we do that for newcomers. So thank you for your time. Thank you.
First I slept and then I crept to a hope-filled dream. You rescued me and finally waking there I see. I look into love's window for a soul that's meant for me. Takes me where the promises are real. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slow, we get just what we need. On a broad highway, stride for stride, we walk eternally. Look into love's window for a heart that beats for me. Takes me where the promises are real. And I always long for something that sets me free. And I'd arrive to a world in harmony. See love as a vision that one day would appear to me. Take me where the promises are real. Take me where the promises are